We will talk about the simple functions: string length, string compare, string copy. There's a typo here, string length. All right. So before we go into these functions, I have a couple of items that I want to introduce you guys. One of the things is we didn't talk about is the size of arrays, which we did, but we had to look in terms of strings. And the other function is string length. All right, string length for strings. Then we also wrote a simple program by ourselves to compute the string length, right? Remember, we did in the previous PowerPoint. If you go back and check it out, for instance, somewhere here, we wrote a program here. How to compute the length of the string array, right? So instead of writing a program like that, we are going to call a function called string length function. That will do the job for us. And size of that array, we are going to look into it. And then we are going to look into string copy and string compare. These are two in a limited way. All right, when we get into pointers, we will come back here again and revisit these functions again. Okay, let's roll into our lecture. So here I have written a program same as name 16 with the Ronald Reagan, and you enter the name. Okay, so the size of, when we do the size of here, all right, is very same. It's 16, right? Size of the character array should be 16. Size of any array, doesn't matter whether it is string array, integer, char, float. So it's going to give us the number of cells in the array times the size of those data types. And if you go back here, then if you see the difference, the string length is going to compute the length of the string. So the difference here is, which you have to look, is size of will give the size of the array, whereas string length gives the length of the string in the array. Length of the string. And this gives the size of the array. In other words, size of will give you size of the array, like a bucket or your fuel tank, and the string length will give you how much have you filled, right? Sometimes it's full, sometimes it's half empty. So the difference between size of and string length has to be noted. Okay, remember that. So going back to this function, I'm going to compile it for you. cat7.c. Oops. 7.c. Okay. gcc7.c. First, let me show the program. Okay, we have this program, right? And now I'm going to run it. So the size of the array is 16. It shows the size of array 16, and the string length is 6. Why the string length is 6? One is 6 letters. Alright? So that one way of determining the size. There might be some times you might end up not declaring this 16 at all. Like, let's say the other example. In here, I don't have to declare the size of the array in here. Alright? This affects alternate way of saying to the system, hey, I have an array, but I will not define the size because I'm going to initialize with the string. Alright? It might be 6 sometimes. Next time I run the program, I want to, instead of name it as Ronald, I want to say Washington. So I don't want to define my length here. Sometimes it's 16, sometimes it's 8, sometimes it is maybe 3, I don't know. So I will leave blank. I will let the compiler determine that for me. So what this effect is saying is, let's say char name let's say soccer. What I'm saying here is an alternate way to define a pointer or an array. It's up to you how you want to interpret that. Alright? All it does is somewhere from the memory it allocates as array, puts soccer into it because that's what you defined, and it puts the null pointer for you and points the name to that array. It does all the things for you in one shot. So that is the advantage of this. Alright? I don't have to define my array. All I have to do is point, my system will point me my name, my variable, to the first location after initializing a memory and with value soccer. Alright, it does so many things here. Even though you defined a simple line saying name, array, subscripts, braces, square brackets, equal with a static string, but that's what it does. So we will compute the length and the size when we are given this kind of definition. Same program, but I removed the dimension of the array. Now what is my size and what is my string length? let's count the Washington here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 letters. So what would be my size? Is it 10? When I define like this, what is my size of name? When you have Washington as your static string, is it 10 or is it 9 or is it 11? Sorry. Is it 9, 10 or 11? And what is my string length? So we'll compile this program. A.C. You entered Washington. My size is 11. My length of the string is 10, which matches Washington, but my size of array become 11. Why is 11? Because my compiler, let me say here, Washington, right, which is 10 letters, it allocates 10, okay, and also one extra cell for what? Null character. That is why your size now became 11. One extra cell to store my null character. The system does it for you. Alright? So that memory will not change. You can never change that name. Always be pointing to the first cell. Alright? And the length will always be the same. It won't change unless you change the static string. And once this address, let's say the address is 44603, that address will never change. Your Washington is always here, starting from 4460, and your name is pointing to that. You can never change name to anywhere, but you can always change the contents of it if you want to. We'll go over that slowly. So those two things I want to talk to you about it. A representation where you don't really mention the dimensions of the array. Alright. The next program, we just looked into string length. String length will give you the length of the string. Okay. String length gives you the length of the string length. And when you pass your variable, it will return the length of the string. It's very simple. In Java, when you always say object string object dot size will get you the size of the string, whereas in C language you have to use string length and the name of the variable. Okay. Next simple function is we're going to talk about is the string compare. String compare is very simple. Let's pretend we have two arrays, name one, let's say Ronald, and name 2, let's say again Ronald. If you want to compare two strings, in Java you always have string object dot equals whatever you do, right? Whereas here we use something called string CMP, compare. We compare name 1 and name 2. It's a function, and we pass those two variables, name 1 and name 2. This function will compare each and every letter in the array of name 1 and every single letter it will compare each and every cell. Alright, it will compare every cell and make sure they are the same. If they are same, if name 1 equals say name 2, alright, if they are same, this function returns 0. That's what you have to remember for now. If they are not same, it will either send 1 or -1, depending upon which is alphabetically comes first. It returns 1 or -1. How do I find that out? You have to go in here, man string compare. String compare takes two strings, pointers in this case, compares two strings, it returns an integer less than, equal to, or greater than 0. If S1 is found respectively to be less than, to match, or greater than, whatever. So you have to read the man pages to see what they return. For the example that we will plan to do now, we'll use string compare, right? Let's write a program. Let me copy alright, name 1, name 2, Washington. Alright, if string compare name 1, name 2, remember name 1 and name 2 are the address of the first cell, or pointers to the first cell. if they are equal to 0, oops, then print the strings are same. All right, else are not same. All right, let me come string they are same because I entered them same, but I'm going to write a simple function. Let me explain to you. Anytime you use string functions, you always have to include string.h. All right, and enter let's not write those things, but if you go and change, instead of Washington, one is lowercase and one is uppercase, if you compile it, it will say they are not same. All right, so that's something you have to remember. Let me go ahead and change it to both of them are same. Right, if I compile it, they are same. All right, so here I have declared Washington with a lowercase w and uppercase w, right? So when I compile it, it's not supposed to, they are not same, right? But how do I ignore the case? Ignore the case means I don't want to compare, I just want to compare the characters, ignoring the case. C language is little subtle. You really have to understand and read the man pages. For instance, let me finish this one. So here, string case, that means ignore the cases. Ignore the case. Now, if you see this program, compile it. Initially, it says not same. Now, when I do it, it will say they are same because we ignored the case. So that's something you have to understand, how to use it in C language. Just string compare will compare everything letter by letter, including case. It is a case sensitive. But if you want to ignore case, you have to say string case compare. Right? So we looked at string length, string compare. Now we are going to look at string copy. String copy.c. Here I don't want to, okay, Alright. Here I'm going to copy from one array to another array. Okay. This is my array. I want to copy into this array. String copy. Remember, it is not string copy. Your compiler will complain. It is string copy, CPY. So I want to copy from this array to this array. Remember, it always uses null character. Yeah? So the function to use is string string copy. We don't have to do anything. Copy from one string to another string. Alright. Now I want to, you always put from 1 to 2. The copied string is name 2. Okay, now just see this here. String copy, name 1 as Washington, name 2 as nothing. I'm copying. Okay, before I go any further, let's do man pages again. String copy, source comes later. First is the destination. Again, do not worry about pointers now. We will ignore these pointers now. We'll come back later. String copy copies the string pointed to by src, that is the source, including the terminating null byte, to the buffer pointed to by destination string. The destination string must be large enough to receive the copy. Yeah? If your destination string is not large enough, you cannot receive the copy. This in another way of saying, if Bill Gates is putting all the money from his account to your account, you better have a very large account. Right? That's what it says. String copy from source to destination. This destination should be large enough to accommodate the source string. Alright? The easy way to remember is, you always specify the destination first in here and the source. You will get used to it. Okay? So we have, let's run the program. we have string library defined. Name1 is from name1 to name2. I'm copying and I'm printing the name2. String copy. The copied string is Washington. Very simple. Yeah? So we looked into simple functions, string length, string copy. We also looked at string case compare, string copies, all these functions. There is also string n copy, string n copy. That means copy only the n letters from source to destination, and you have to say how many letters it is. N letters. The third parameter says how many letters you want to copy. Let's go back. Man pages. See, this very subtle with string copy. String copy function is similar except that at most n bytes of source are copied. At most n bytes of source are copied. Warning, very important. If there is no null byte among the first n bytes of source, the string placed in destination will not be null terminated. Alright? What it means is, if my source is, say, 5 characters, I'm just giving Obama. If I'm going to say string n copy from, let's say, name 1 to name 2, so name to name, sorry, and let's say 4. From source to destination, I'm saying copy only 4. That means it will copy O, B, A, M, I'm sorry, and that's it. It's not going to put a null terminator in name 2. It is your responsibility. If you use string n copy and you specify a number, say 4, and if it doesn't find a null terminator at the 4th cell or 5th cell, string n copy will not do the job for you. You have to do it. So caution, alright? Caution. Okay, that's important. So there are a lot of functions we will not go over now. We will just stop at this. Alright. So in this video, we saw how to use size of array, string arrays using string length. How to compute the length we already saw it. Oh, okay, and we also looked into different programs, right? String compare, we saw string copy too, right? String copy. This is a simple case. All right, is no rocket science in here. And so we will start using some applications using these string functions.